You're listening to Kicked Back, presented by Uber One. Uber One is a membership that lets you save across Uber Eats, Uber Rides, and everything in between. Enjoy unlimited $0 delivery fees, 5% off of Eats, 5% off of rides, and if you join Uber One today, you can get your first month free. Visit uber.com/Uber1 for details. Another day, another episode of Kicked Back, presented by our good friends, Uber One. Liam, what's up?
Not much. New Jersey.
I know.
It came in. My dad called it super ugly again, but here we are. Came in. Do you know what? It was funny. So I think I mentioned it, but we ordered them when we were in Canada, and I was just in England before. And it was actually, so we got 4 jerseys, and it was only $60 more expensive than one jersey right now.
Oh.
Pretty good.
There you go, Liam.
Pretty good deal.
Same Liam, New Jersey. And for those watching, please rate Liam's jersey in the comments. I actually really like it. And I think the reason why is because the collar is giving me vintage vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know how comfortable it is to play in something like that, but the aesthetic of it, I like it.
It's comfortable to walk around
There
in.
you go. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be doing much running in this jersey, but...
Liam, call me crazy, but I could see you playing for England right now. It's the power of the jersey.
Me and Harry Kane. Well, Trent's out. Maybe I can play right back.
Oh my gosh, Trent. Liverpool, where I don't even know. I don't know if we have Liverpool on our show today. Maybe it just somehow naturally comes in. But man, yeah, we'll get into that another time. I know that everyone knows that we, for some reason, there's this conspiracy theory about Kicked Back that we hate Liverpool. It's just not the truth.
I don't hate Liverpool. I just don't think they're very good.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's the truth. Okay, that's going to be our Liverpool little comment for the day. But right now, we're starting with Kylian Mbappe.
What a man. That guy just loves the headlines, hey?
Oh, man, I keep saying he's in his villain era. I don't know what he is doing, but he's just, every single day, there's a different headline, like you say, Liam, that's just negative. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what's scary about it is I don't think he even realizes that he is being negative, that he is kind of contributing to this, that he's a virus, that he's a cancer to the team. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't think it's rumors anymore. And I do think that he really is. Like, he's literally saying now that he wants to leave PSG in January.
Yeah, it's especially after signing that contract. Like, there was this whole thing where, well, we all remember, right? Mm-hmm. There was the links to Real Madrid and all that kind of stuff, and now everything seemed fine, and then all of a sudden, the season started, and everything just went rotten again. And I don't understand his point of view. Like, he keeps saying, like, the manager's not playing in the way he's supposed to play, and it's like, well, you're winning games. Like, isn't the point of this to win games and to win competitions and become a great team? And I understand everyone wants the individual awards, but I don't ever remember Messi coming out saying like, oh, Pep Guardiola's not playing me in the right way whilst we're winning the league every year and the Copa del Rey, whatever else they want. Like, it's very selfish and self-motivated. And I just don't think, if I was PSG, honestly, like, of course, he's an unbelievable player, but like, see you later. Pack your bags. Like, don't come back. Like, I don't know. Like, the amount of money you could get for him too. Like, why not just go?
Honestly, so he's in this contract, highest paid player in football right now at the age of 23, which is insane. And he's not the best footballer in the world, but the highest paid. Yeah. He has ownership in the club. He plays with Messi and Neymar. He's on a team that obviously can clearly win the French league. And then along with that, a team that's built to win the Champions League. And he's still complaining. And it comes down to the fact, and there was a French reporter who spoke to this, that he essentially in his contract says he wants to play Neymar's position and he wants Neymar out. Like, how toxic do you have to be? And Henry said it best. There was an interview with Thierry Henry, and he said that when I went to Barcelona, I wasn't playing in the position I wanted to play in, but I did what the boss said and I did what was best for the team. And this is a guy, Thierry Henry, who's built his career at Arsenal, who's one of the best footballers we've ever seen play, who just took it to the chin and did what he had to do for the team's success. Then you got Mbappe, who's walking onto the scene. Like, someone's got to remind him, this isn't FIFA.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't FIFA. Like, you made a promise. You big money is at stake. And if he wants to be respected by some of football's greats and even reach that potential, because he is a great footballer, reach his best potential, he needs to cut the shit. And someone at some point has to tell him to sit the F down.
Yeah. Like, the Henry thing, I think, is a really good example of just a man who knows what he is, right? Like, Henry, one of the greatest players we've ever seen. Like, there is no disputing that at all. But you go to Barcelona and then you say, hey, you're playing on the left wing because that's where we feel you'll be best for us. And then he goes on to win.
Yep.
Like Mbappe, like to say that about Neymar, especially right now, like Neymar's one of the best players in the world at the moment, if not arguably the best. Like heading into the World Cup, he's just such great form. And you know what? Like I've never been like a massive Neymar fan for like
I agree.
reasons of his diving and stuff like that. But as a player, he has been so underappreciated, I think. And like for Mbappe just to come in and say, you know what, like I'm just gonna take your position because I think I'm better than you is just utterly disrespectful. And honestly, bad on PSG for allowing that to be in the contract. Like that is, Neymar came to your team. Like he was one of the first stars to come to your team when you got all this money, and he stuck it out throughout not winning Champions Leagues and honestly gone on, like I said, gone under the radar quite a bit. And now you have this 23-year-old guy who, hey, I'm not going to sit here and pretend Mbappe isn't an unbelievable player. He is one of the best players in the world, but he hasn't been able to accomplish as much as Neymar has, and rightfully shouldn't have that say over Neymar.
Imagine being 23 years old and saying that you want Neymar off your team, who's built an illustrious career, who's built so much respect, who Messi, who's one of the greatest players that this sport has ever seen, loves to play with, who's arguably, like you said, the best player in the world right now, and telling him you don't want him on your team and saying, I want to play his position. Honest to God, someone at PSG has to say, get the hell out of here. Like, we don't want this anymore. And like your pick for the Champions League was PSG. And now I'm always like, they're so built for success, but the drama on this team, like, yes, Mbappe, I read a stat yesterday that he's PSG's all-time leading goal scorer in the Champions League right now. He's 23 years old. Yeah, that's great. But this guy, like, when we talk about PSG, we're always talking about the drama. We're always talking about Mbappe. We're not talking about the fact that Benfica now has come back from being down a goal twice against PSG, and these are games that PSG should be putting away easy.
Yeah, and I don't know what else to say about them. Like, the team, yes, they should be built for the Champions League, and Mbappe helps them, of course. But you almost feel like if he does go, it gives him a slightly better opportunity because you lose that, right? Like you lose the negativity around your team, and then you have guys like Messi and Neymar who obviously more than capable of dragging a team to the Champions League final if you want to, and also, you know, Donnarumma's great. Like they have so many. There's just so many good players. Like at PSG, they've really just got to put a butt in this, honestly, and just.
You'd say peace out.
I would tell him shut up. Yeah, I would honestly have a conversation with him and say, do you want to be here or not? And if he says no, I wouldn't play him.
Yeah,
I genuinely wouldn't. Like, they're a good enough team that, like, no disrespect to League, but it's not like they're going to lose the title with or without Mbappe. Like, they're winning it. It doesn't matter. So just say, okay, well, we'll figure something out. You go sit in your home by the Eiffel Tower, wherever you live. I don't know. And yeah, just smell you later.
Oh my God. So people are saying he's going to either United or Liverpool because apparently he has a good relationship with Klopp. And they're saying that he's like, United's just taken everyone and anyone right now. So where would you see him, and what would shock you more?
It would shock me more if he went to Liverpool, I think, because United, like you said, they're always laying through these big, massive names. I mean, they got Casemiro, which I wasn't expecting at all. And even when Ronaldo went back last year, like that was very unexpected. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he went to United, again, there's just a lot of headlines, obviously, and like Liverpool, of course, too. But like the leadership at Liverpool, I do think could kind of close him down a little bit. You know, Van Dijk's a good veteran. Like even like we call James Milner for what he is, but as an actual person, like he's probably a pretty good leader in the team. And if I was either of those teams, I probably wouldn't even. I don't know. It's such a hard conversation to have because what if he just turns around and does this to you? Like, and then your whole rhythm's disrupted. Like, I think he goes to Real Madrid. To be honest, I think that's just where he'll. I think that's where he'll go. I think that's where he'll go, and then yeah, that's kind of what I feel. Real Madrid
would be nuts. Real Madrid would take an L, a massive L, in my opinion, if they were like on the cusp of signing him last season. Then he kind of like sneakily got himself out of that, signed this unreal contract with PSG to 2025, and now saying F you PSG. Madrid in their mind should be saying we dodged a bullet.
I just think they just want the best players.
But that's not. But we've seen Madrid have these like unreal teams before, and they haven't done well.
I just think they're a greedy team who just wants the best guys. I think that's just what it is. I think that's what it boils down to with Perez. Like that he just wants the best players in the world and he doesn't care what it takes.
One thing is if Mbappe tried to pull that shit with Ancelotti, he would get nowhere. I feel like Carlo Ancelotti would snap him out of it real quick.
I think that's the difference too between the PSG manager now and if he goes to Liverpool or Real Madrid, for example. Like Klopp and Ancelotti have some clout, right? They've won Champions Leagues, they've won their leagues, and like the PSG manager did win it with Lille a few years ago too, but it's not on the same scale, is it? And I feel like maybe perhaps Mbappe has a little bit more respect for those managers, or on the other side of it too, like those managers know how to put those guys in the place and don't allow those personalities to overrule the success. And I think good managers do that. Like Alex Ferguson did it for a long time at United, and I think if you went to a big team like Liverpool, even United, like Ten Hag seems like he's pretty good with the personalities too. Yeah. And like, look at, like, I know the Ronaldo thing, but like, it's not that loud, the noise out of it. Like it's loud in the sense of like, oh, he's not playing and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if Mbappe went to Madrid with Ancelotti or Klopp with Liverpool, then they would kind of calm him down a little bit.
Yeah. And I also think this was the problem with PSG. PSG made a big mistake giving a young player like Mbappe ownership in the club. Mm-hmm. So then the coach is in a position who's like, now my player might in some positions have equal say as me. And that's scary. So if Mbappe goes to whatever club he chooses to go to, I don't think that that's going to be given to him, as it shouldn't, because the player should never be bigger than the club. And hopefully that wouldn't happen wherever he decides to go, because I think that that's a big problem.
I wonder if he still becomes an owner of PSG if he gets sold. Or
Could you imagine?
Does that ownership transfer to the next team? Like how if that's actually in the contract, like how does that transfer, Like what does this mean?
You know what? As much as this Mbappe drama drives me crazy, I do kind of live for it because it gives us something fun to talk about outside of score lines. And he's kind of the soap opera in our sport. And again, he's in his villain era. And as much as he drives me crazy right now, and he's not a guy I would want to play with because I think I'd have a hard time, taking his shit. But from our perspective, talking about it and seeing what the next move is, it's fun.
It is funny. Like you said, it brings some personality to the sport. And then being in North America, I think we see it a lot in like the NFL and NBA. And now we're like getting this guy in football. It's interesting too when you compare, like him and Haaland are going to be compared for the rest of their careers. And then you have Haaland who just scores all these goals and doesn't say anything. Like, he plays for a big team in City, and like Dortmund too is a good club. And now you have Mbappe, who's feels like his head's getting a little too big to get through that door, and Haaland's just pointing his head on every ball and putting it in the net instead.
You must be reading my mind because I have on my sheet here to ask you, because when we grew up, the conversation was Messi or Ronaldo, and now we're getting into the next generation. And anytime we post anything about Haaland, half my comments at least are still like Mbappe is better. So in your opinion, if you had to pick one guy right now to have on your team for the rest of your life, who are you picking?
Everything included?
Like right now, you have to make a decision.
I would just take Haaland purely because he scores a ton of goals, doesn't say anything, like he's just kind of a calm presence. Yeah. I do think Mbappe is a better player.
Okay.
Just his speed and everything like that incorporated into it. But at this moment in time, with everything considered, I would take Haaland over Mbappe.
I'd agree. And I'm going to say I'm picking Haaland every single day on his best or his worst day, because it comes down to one thing for me. And yes, he's a machine at goal scoring, but on the pitch and in the locker room, he's just a different guy than Mbappe. And I actually think Mbappe could learn a lot from Haaland right now. You see him being buddies with his teammates. When he scored that goal against Dortmund in the Champions League, he barely even celebrated because he respects his former fans and his former club so much. And when he's on the verge of an assist, he's passing the ball, where Mbappe's like trying to have all the goals in the world. So again, I go back to this. If Mbappe wants to have the respect from some of football's greatest players and reach his highest potential, because he is an unbelievable footballer, he needs to be humbled. And someone in the football world needs to sit him down and give him a massive reality check. Because you're looking at the Haaland and the Mbappe conversation, and to me, it's a no-brainer. Like, I'm picking Haaland every single day because the guy's a team player. He's humble. He's motivated. His mentality, his character. Mbappe is just here to, I don't know. Mbappe just has a massive ego. And I really hope, and I'm being honest, I really hope that he can get it in check. He's very young. PSG have given him all of this money. They've given him ownership. Maybe he's young and immature and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And I really hope he can kind of start to turn his career a little bit around, because it'd be so unfortunate to kind of see him fall off when he's so talented.
Do you know what Mbappe needs is 2 world-class players on his team who are veterans to the sport, who can sit him down and help him. And he has those, and he just doesn't want to listen to them.
So. And he's still like, Neymar, I want you gone.
Yeah, there you go. I was actually just curious and looking because obviously, like last season, so Mbappe had 17 assists last season and 28 goals. Very impressive. Yeah. This season, he has 8 goals, no assists in 9 games.
I mean, the guy wants to score all the goals.
Haaland has 15 goals in 9 games and 3 assists.
Yeah.
So for a guy that just scores goals, he has 3 assists this season, and Mbappe has 0.
And every single time one of Haaland's teammates scores, this guy's happy. Yeah. Like, he wants the team result. I mean, I don't know. I pray. I'm going to be so dramatic. I pray for Mbappe.
Me too, Kylian.
Mbappe, we're sending you prayers, my friend. But just crazy. I mean, another day, another headline with that guy. Yeah. I'm very excited to see what happens in January. But if, Liam, like you said it perfectly. If I'm someone at PSG, I'm telling him to shut up or get out.
Yeah.
Simply, like, you don't want to stop this shit, then please see yourself out. He did have a goal yesterday against Benfica that was called offside, and it was beautiful. Yeah. But I still don't chalk that up as PSG should have won. I still chalk that up to PSG should have won regardless if that goal was called back or not. And when there's this much drama around a team right before they go and play a Champions League game, they're not going to have success. It's just not possible. So hopefully they clean it up. Yeah,
it's I was just, you know what? There's Champions League games on right now.
I know.
So Napoli's got a 1-0 lead, and I was trying to get up this Club Bruges game as well because
our
boy Buchanan's playing, but I ran out. I've put my limit on my streaming service, so it's like, damn it,
addict.
So yeah. What else we got?
Okay, Juventus and Maccabi Haifa. I feel like there's.
Did you see my tweet yesterday?
I loved it, and I was like, I can't wait to talk about it because our episode where you said Maccabi Haifa is going to be the worst team in the Champions League. Did you get comments on our video for that?
So a few fans on YouTube commented and were like, you must have never seen like Victoria Plazm play. Like, someone was commenting how they beat Red Star Belgrade and Olympiacos to get to the Champions League, which are big European clubs. Like Olympiacos are big in Greece, Red Star big in Serbia. Hey, I'm not disputing that by any means, but come on. Like, they shouldn't, they're not, it's not like I said they were the worst team and they're like the second best team, whatever. But now it's Juventus. Either way. Like, I'm sorry, Juventus fans. It was so poor. So poor. And even the goals that went in were good goals, but I feel like the goalie should have had them both in a way. Like,
oh my God, of course.
Yeah, like it was I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. And like, I don't watch Juventus every week, and I know they've been on like they've had a poor season, but man, you are Juventus. You shouldn't be going there and losing 2-0. Like, come on. Like,
I'm so happy. And I'm so sorry to any Juventus fans on here. Really, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, because this brings me so much joy. Like, Maccabi Haifa, this team, Liam, like you said, it's no disrespect, but the facts are the facts. They haven't had a win in the Champions League since in over 20 years.
Yeah.
Juventus just gave them their first effing win, and they scored in the first 7 minutes of the game.
It was brutal.
And the goalie should have saved that.
Yeah.
And like, half the time when they pan to certain players, I love Milik, right? Like, obviously I'm Polish. He looked dead. Like, not that, I don't want that to be taken out of context, but he looked deflated. No one on that Juventus team looked like there was a solution to the problem. And Maccabi Haifa, a team that everyone has completely written off, upsets them. And to me, I'm overjoyed. And yes, Juventus is the worst team in Champions League right now.
They're horrible to watch. Horrible to watch. And they got a lot of good players. Like, I remember that first game of the season, I watched them play. I can't remember who they played. Maybe Sampdoria, whoever it was. Like, it was rather enjoyable. Like, when Di Maria got on the ball, he had a really nice goal, and then he got hurt. And then I feel like since that point, Juventus' season has just been on a downward spiral. And I know there's injuries and stuff like that, but like this Allegri ball is...
Yes.
I've seen 8-year-old kids play better than they do in the park, and it's more entertaining. Like, I just don't see the appeal. And there's so much speculation yesterday after the game being like, is this it? Because what are they? I think they're like 8th in Serie A, something like that, right?
8th in Serie A, and also 3 losses in 4 Champions League games. Oh. And then Allegri after the game, let me read you this quote because it's just so comical for me. Like, I can't get through it. I'm not going to step down. Absolutely, because it's a challenge now. When it gets harder, it's even more beautiful. I'm
for
sorry.
Who? Who's this more beautiful for? Because it's not for me. It's extremely ugly.
If I'm a Juventus fan, I'm boycotting right now because if we're losing to a team who hasn't had a win in over 20 years in the Champions League, and we have 3 losses out of 4 games in the Champions League, and we're in 8th place in Serie A, and we gave Monza their first ever Serie A win, and now we gave Maccabi Haifa a platform in the Champions League, I'm like... I'm not cheering for this team anymore if my coach is making a comment like that. It's even more beautiful. Where's the beauty? Where's the beauty? But honestly, for me, it's great. This gives me life. Like, my energy just went way up. So, Juventus, you keep doing what you're doing.
My expectations, I didn't really... For Juventus, I think I said they would get through the group, but Benfica would give them a challenge. Yeah. Now, at this point, they're going to be lucky to get that 3rd spot for Europa League. Yeah. Like... it leaves you almost speechless because you're like, this team was dominant for a decade. For a decade long, they were the best team in Serie A. Chiellini, Bonucci, Bonucci, what am I thinking? Like, there's so many guys. Like, and now here we are, and I just don't know what else to say. Like, 8th in Serie A. They are 10 points behind Napoli, and Juventus have scored, how many goals? Well, do you have it up there? How many goals they've scored? 12 goals this season.
12 goals.
12 goals.
In Serie A?
Sorry, I lied. No, 12 goals, 7 against. Their goal difference is 5. Imagine watching these games. Imagine. Like, so Napoli, 22 goals, 7 against. Like, Milan, 18 goals, 9 against. Like, they're just such a boring team to watch, and I
agree.
That's the thing for me. Like, I don't like if you lose, but you're entertaining, then like so be it, right? But like, it's even like Manchester United games when they're losing, it's entertaining because it's like a fun counter-attacking game or whatever. But this is just nothing. And next they have Benfica, and then they have PSG. They have to win both games to qualify for the next round. They're done. They are done in Champions League.
Honestly, I'm smiling because, again, and I have no room to talk because AC Milan, you know, that's a whole other conversation. We'll get to that in a second. But it makes me happy because, again, to all the toxic Juventus fans who said Cristiano Ronaldo is the problem, what the hell are they saying now?
Yeah.
Like, listen to these stats. In 3 seasons with Juve, Ronaldo scored 101 goals in 134 games. He scored 14 goals in the Champions League. 7 of them were knockout goals. And with Juventus, Cristiano Ronaldo got them 5 trophies. That's 5 trophies in 3 seasons. And now they're losing to Monza. Now they're losing to Maccabi Haifa. And every single time we think it's not going to get worse for Juve, it gets even worse. And I'm sorry I'm smiling. This is just, gives me joy. But I don't want to sound harsh, but to all the toxic fans who said Ronaldo was the problem, you guys take a big L. Ronaldo, like the club, Ronaldo deserved way more than what Juventus gave him. And right now, there's bigger problems, and his name is Allegri.
So here's our next run of games. And so I just need you to say how many wins you think they'll get. So I'll read out the team and then where they are in the league. So they have Torino next.
Okay.
Who are 10th, only 2 points behind them.
Okay.
Empoli.
Okay.
The week after, who are 14th.
Okay.
And then they have Lecce, who are 16th. Isn't that shouldn't be a difficult question, should it?
Exactly. But to me, when I would hear this before this past Champions League game, I'm like, yeah, they're going to come out with maybe a couple wins and a draw. But now I'm like, I don't know how realistic that is because, and again, no disrespect to Maccabi Haifa because, again, that's also a team that plays very strong at home. As you could see, their supporters were so passionate and they were really encouraging their players. But I think Juventus is kind of in the dumps, and clearly Allegri has no type of hold on the locker room right now. Those might be like 2 losses and a draw, a win, a loss, a draw, which should be scary either way. There should be 3 wins.
Yeah. I don't really have a prediction. I would it should be 3 wins. But I think I would just go 1-1-1.
Yeah.
That's my guess. We'll come back to it in a few weeks here. I didn't even say the Champions League games because I'm just putting those 2 L's down already. But yeah, I'm looking out for Maccabi Haifa now.
Yes.
You know what? Like they were, to flip it on the other side, they were actually entertaining to watch. Yep. They were really fun. Like you said, the atmosphere in the stadium was electrifying. And now they have PSG and Benfica to go. And Benfica at home in the last game of the group stage. Now, by no means do I think they're going to qualify for the next round of the Champions League. Like, they now have 3 points, and PSG and Benfica are both on 8. Like, they would have to win both games. However, all they need is one result. They draw or a win against either of those teams, and they're in the Europa League. I truly don't see Juventus getting a win in Benfica or PSG, but I do have a belief that if Maccabi Haifa go up against Benfica with some stakes and Benfica have qualified for the next round, maybe Benfica rest a couple of players and Maccabi Haifa with the atmosphere can really rally and get to that Europa League. And I hope they do because they deserve it.
And they have momentum on their side. Like maybe they can go and upset PSG.
Maybe that would be, it's in PSG, but yeah, like who knows?
You don't
know. It's a Champions League.
And you know how big a win like their win against Juventus was? I posted a TikTok last night that really was just about the score. It blew up, and so many fans, Maccabi Haifa fans, are commenting on it. And I'm like, this is, you know that the players are feeling that. You know that the players are feeling that encouragement, how big that win was. It's all about momentum, and they're heading into their next couple of games, which are very important for them with momentum. So I'm not saying it's a definite win, but if they upset one team, you know they have the confidence now to do it again.
That's all you need, right? Like you just need that one little thing, whether it's to score a goal or to win the game, like just a little bit of like belief.
Yeah.
And then off you go. Who knows? Sky's the limit, or the Europa League's the limit.
Benfica undefeated in the Champions League right now.
Yeah, they're a good team too. They got a lot of talent. I like the striker Ramos. He's fun. They're pushing at PSG. Like, I think I definitely underestimated them a little bit just because.
Me too.
Benfica, they had a really good run last year, but they also lost Nunes.
Yes.
You know, call him what you want in the Premier League. Like, he was a great striker for Benfica. He's got a hat-trick in the Champions League, right? Like, so Benfica, like, all the power to them. Like, they could win this group if, you know, Juventus and Maccabi Haifa next, like I said, like, they got a lot to play for as well.
Right now, is PSG still your pick to win the Champions League?
Yes, but I do think teams have got better. Like, I think City are a better team now. I honestly think Chelsea are now better with Graham Potter. Like, I know when we did our preview show, we were both like, didn't really believe in them. But that was a Tuchel thing for me. I'm sure it's probably the same, right?
Yeah, it was. And it was also just like, they're not scoring goal. And they just didn't look as good as they looked against Tottenham, which was their first game. Versus every other game they played. But honestly, Juve fans, when you're watching this, just know that I'm also humbled by my AC Milan results, and I'm fully aware of that. So I get it. And you guys can laugh at me. Absolutely. I appreciate like the good football banter. But yeah, it's a tough, we'll get into that in a second. Before I forget, Liam, you called Barcelona not getting out of this group.
Yeah.
And they're on like the cusp here.
They need a result today.
And I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for Liam. I texted him. I'm like, you have to repurpose that take and stitch it or whatever you have to do, because you are the only person in the world who said that. And when you did, everyone shit on you.
Yeah, I really, really wanted to bring it up. Firstly, I couldn't figure out how to do it. So that's
okay, I'll show you today. We'll figure that out.
Secondly, I didn't want to do it too early.
Okay.
But if they don't get a result today, you better believe I am figuring out how to do that stitch and stuff on the old tactic.
Right, I know. A tag hash.
Yes. So they've not been great. And sorry, just quickly before we get, Napoli's up 2-0 now.
I love that.
I did say on the preview show, Napoli look out for them.
Yep.
They're in a tough group, so they're up 2-0 right now.
We did. We said we put an asterisk with Napoli, and I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I hope that they continue to do it. Quickly before we move on from PSG, Di Maria's came out with an injury. Dybala, I don't know if you saw him when he took that penalty kick in his game in Serie A.
Okay.
He had like a really bad thigh injury. He scored the penalty kick and he came off the field, and Mourinho said in his post-game interview, he said, it's more very bad than it is bad. And now he might miss the World Cup.
That sucks.
He came off crying.
Yeah. Do you know what? This whole World Cup thing's really exciting to have it in the middle of the season, but it is brutal to see guys go down in the middle of the year. Like we even saw, I think we're going to get to it later, about Alphonso Davies. He's now picked up an injury. Like at the England setup, like you have Kyle Walker and Trent Alexander-Arnold now. We were both like probably going to be healthy, but also going to miss time. And you just don't want to see it. Like you want the World Cup to be the best of the best. And obviously there's going to be players, no matter when the World Cup is, that are going to miss. But right now I feel like there's unfortunately going to be more stars to come that get hurt and won't make it to the World Cup, which is just brutal. Which
to me, I mean, Argentina's my pick, but if Di Maria, Dybala are out, these are two guys that would have made a difference. And Messi, Messi sitting like, who do I call who can get these guys like extra fast and successful treatment right now?
Yeah, like Argentina, I think luckily for them, they're extremely deep team. But then again, like Dybala and Di Maria, it's not like you're...
I know.
It's not like you're pushing aside two guys who are going to come off the bench. Who are probably going to start for you, and probably just damages them a little bit, I would say. But I still like them a lot to have success in the World Cup. And yeah, let's just knock on wood. No one else comes out with anything major.
I agree. Okay, AC Milan, second time we lost to Chelsea. First of all, thoughts on the Tomori penalty? Would you have called that, yes or no?
I think I would have called the penalty. I think I would have called the red card.
Really?
I think, do you know what?
Yeah, explain.
It's such a borderline one, but I get it. So he I believe, denied a clear scoring opportunity. He never once went to play the ball. He pulled him back. I think it was harsh, but by the letter of the law, probably the correct call. However, the way the rest of the game went with the officiating, like every time someone got touched, there was a yellow card. It makes me wonder if a different referee would have made the same decision. I think either way, penalty.
Yeah.
I would not have been shocked if a better referee had officiated that game and given a yellow card. And you know what else sucks about it too is when you get those cards so early in the game for like calls like that, it ruins it. Like we've got two European giants playing against each other, and we want to see the best on best, especially Tomori, who is a former Chelsea player, former Chelsea Academy player. Like you saw him when he was pleading to the ref, like look at VAR, and obviously they did, but like Mason Mount like gave him a tap on the shoulder, like, hey man, like it'll be fine, like whatever. But like, and that sucks, but it just shows the respect Chelsea
of course
also have for him. And I don't know, like so my final answer is yes. I think it was yes to both penalty and a red card. But I wouldn't have been shocked if someone else made a different decision.
I agree. Yes, on the penalty, because whether or not people think it's soft, and listen, I'm the first one to say something is soft these days, but the reality of the situation is he had a full hand on his shoulder and pulled him back. Mm-hmm. Like that, at the end of the day, you can't do that in the box, right? Red card, I think is very harsh. Granted, it was also the beginning of the game. Like, exactly, you have to think about the stage, the two teams that are playing. Was it as harsh as it... As a red card usually is? No, I do think the red card was soft. I would have given a yellow, definitely a penalty kick, well-deserved penalty kick. Mm-hmm. But it seems as though this Champions League, everyone's getting a freaking red card or yellow. Like, there's been so many cards handed out.
Yeah, and I think it just is the way referees are used to officiating in their respective leagues, right? Yeah. Like it's just different styles of play, and some refs, I don't even know where this referee was from, to be honest, but either way, like sometimes more yellow cards help control the game, I guess, but I never felt watching that game that it was out of hand.
No.
Like I think it got, and like I'm sure you've experienced this too, like the more cards that are given out, the more frustrated people get, which then allows the game to get out of hand. Like sometimes you just got to talk to the players and be like, hey, captain, like let's sort this out. And that's how you control a game. And like, the referee should never be the star of the show. Yesterday he was.
Yeah, I agree.
And I hate to see it, because this game last week was a disappointing one, to be honest, for Milan fans. And I think for football fans, it wasn't that good of a game. Like, Chelsea's,
I agree.
They were a better team. And now here we are a week later or 2 weeks later, whatever it is. And same story all over again. And now we're sitting here wondering, it's like, okay, where is Milan at right now? Like, what is this team?
Yep, yeah, third place.
They're third in the group?
Yep.
And do they have enough to get out? Because they've also not been great in the Serie A either.
I agree.
I do think this team is better than it's showing.
100%. To me, it's such a big disappointment. I apologize to all Chelsea fans now, because I will admit when I'm wrong. And I said Chelsea was the most overrated team in this Champions League. Clearly, that was Juventus. Chelsea's sitting at the top of Group E. Salzburg's in second place, and AC Milan's in third place, with some performances that I'm really scratching my head not understanding. I agree the ref, a lot of fans are upset at the ref, but AC Milan has also put themselves in a position for that game to have been like a must win, and they weren't able to pull it out. So I expected way more out of this team, and either way you cut it, I don't think refereeing is an excuse. You can be butthurt about the call, about the red card, but there's no way that they should be sitting below Salzburg. Any way you cut it, that's an AC Milan problem, not a refereeing problem.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I'm trying to see here. They must have, so Zagreb next, and then Salzburg. So Zagreb is away from home, where Chelsea lost in Zagreb, which cost Tuchel's job, right? That was his last game, I think. And then Salzburg at home. Obviously got to win both games. Yeah. You got to go and win both games. This team is good enough to win both games. And to be honest, like we said, like, I'm not upset at my take that I thought Chelsea was overrated too, because quite frankly, they were not good at all. And like, I'm eating my words a little bit on Aubameyang. Like, he scored a good goal yesterday, and I thought that was actually like quite a commanding goal from him. Like, he basically pushed his guy out of the way to go and get the ball and score. And like, this is a different Chelsea team now, and I think they also have the booster of a new manager in Potter, and like, you always get that momentum a little bit after. Maybe Milan just called them at a bad time. Maybe. But Milan have a couple of injuries as well, and I think they'll be fine. You obviously want to try and qualify as the number one team in your group to get the easier team in the second place team. But either way, like, if they don't get results from Zagreb and Salzburg, then quite frankly, they probably don't deserve to go to the knockout stages, right? Like,
100% agree with you. 100%. And at least we still have Inter, which pains me to say, and Napoli as our Italian teams that we have said, like, I think this might be a Champions League where the Italian teams shine. And I think that Inter and obviously Napoli are proving that theory the most.
Definitely Napoli. Yeah. Definitely Napoli. Like, this group they're in, the fact they've only conceded 2 goals is outstanding.
I know.
So there's only, let me double check here quickly. There's only a few teams that they obviously have conceded a few. There's only 2 teams in the Champions League that haven't conceded a goal yet. Bayern Munich.
Wow.
Club Brugge.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Like, they're not in an outrageous group like Atletico, Porto, and Leverkusen, but still 7 goals, no goals against, 3 wins, and they're currently 0-0 with Atletico. I think that one's at home. Yeah, it is. It's away.
You know, everyone's shitting on Bayern, what they're doing in the Bundesliga. Hold on, where are they sitting right now in the Bundesliga? 3rd, which obviously they should be the favorite to be at number 1. But you can't deny everything they're doing in the Champions League. And I think they're in a unique position this year. Of course, you got regular season, you got Champions League, and you got World Cup. And right now, I guarantee you their players are only really kind of focusing on the Champions League, which they're proving to be one of the top dogs. And then a lot of their guys are going to be playing in Qatar. So if, you know, the Bundesliga isn't going the exact way they want it to this year, I don't think it's the end of the world.
No, and I think after this World Cup, and you know what, there's a lot of games being played right now with, like, trying to cram in Champions League. Like, it's just becoming, you know, you're losing a month of the season. And I know Bundesliga usually has a Christmas break as well, like a winter break. But either way, like, I think after the World Cup, Bayern Munich's just gonna
probably just
bounce back and just be the dominant team. Like, very entertaining game against Dortmund on the weekend. So that was fun. And like
Oliver Kahn.
Yeah. And we've said it a bunch now too. Like Bundesliga is a good league.
Yes.
Got to give it credit. It's not like PSG sitting third in Liga 1 or Ajax is sitting 8th in the Eredivisie. Like Bundesliga is a good league. Respect the teams that are in there. Union Berlin are a really fun team to watch, and Freiburg have really turned up this season. Dortmund turning heads now as well with, loss of Haaland. Like, I didn't even think they were going to get out of the Champions League group.
Love that you're bringing up Dortmund because maybe we underestimated them a little bit. They're right now 4th in the Bundesliga. And again, that was a crazy game that we saw on the weekend. They ended up tying Bayern Munich in the 94th minute. And they just kept pressing and pressing. And it was a huge win for Borussia Dortmund fans. But Jude Bellingham, 4 goals in 4 Champions League games right now, Liam.
As an England fan, you love to see it.
Yeah, I want to know exactly. Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I feel good. Like he's... Just from a club perspective, he is putting his team on his back right now and saying, like, I am taking over. Like, everyone's talking about the loss of Haaland and Sancho, but all the rumors all summer have been like, where's Bellingham going? What's next for him? And now, here he is, just producing on the biggest stage. And he was great for England in their 2 games against Germany and Italy. And now, like you said, 4 goals in 4 Champions League games. Funnily enough, no goals in the Bundesliga yet, which is funny, but still, like, he's still one of the best players that they have, and arguably the best player that they have. And it's good to see Dortmund not fall off a cliff after losing guys, and Marco Reus is injured now as well. And I love it. Like, I love those Dortmund fans and the atmosphere they bring to the sport. And yeah, like, I undervalued them for the loss of Haaland and not for what this team actually is as a whole. Like I said, Sevilla was going to get ahead of them, which is probably my worst take of the entire preview. But here we are.
Never know.
Like, you never know.
You never know what's going to happen. I mean, who called Maccabi Haifa beating Juve?
True. That's a good point. I like I said they were the worst team.
And if anyone did, kudos to you. But
let me know.
Just, yeah, exactly. Alphonso Davies went down in that game against Dortmund, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah, what was it? A skull bruise?
Yeah.
So they said about a month, I believe. So he should be fine for the World Cup.
Bad timing.
Yeah, bad timing. At least it's still some time to recover. Just hoping for the best. There's not much to say, I suppose. Like, at least it... I don't know. I was going to say at least it wasn't like a broken bone or something like that. Like, on the plus side, like maybe a couple ice packs on the head and no video games for a week.
I feel for these players because you're just speaking to, the heaviness of this schedule. You see Dybala come out, you see Di Maria go down, you see Davies go down, you see these players probably doing everything they can to not get injured ahead of the biggest tournament in the world, like in any sport. Yeah. But it's so hard because they're playing so much. And soccer's not a soft sport. So these things will happen. It's just, I feel for them because the timing is so crunched and it's got to be so shitty. And you're probably like ultra hyper vigilant to the fact that you don't want to get injured, that sometimes it goes the other way. I just feel bad for Davies. It looked bad. And I pray that he's back in time for Canada. Yeah,
me too, because obviously
best player,
one of the best players going to the World Cup. And just on the injuries for everyone, like, a little extra stress on the body, like not only whilst they're playing, but when they're off, I'm sure they're trying to get like extra treatments. Maybe they're doing like more yoga or something like that. There's probably extra things they've added to their routines to try and make sure their bodies are 100% every single week because they don't want to miss this World Cup. And especially someone like Davies or like someone from a different country, I can't even think of an example, who doesn't go to the World Cup every year. Like, this is a massive, obviously Canada's hosting the next one, but like, you might never go again. And players need to be there. They want to be there. And yeah, it's bad timing. Bad timing.
Agree. Well, to all the players injured, when you're listening to this podcast, because we know you are, we hope you feel better. To finish off this episode, we're going to do our World Cup Power Rankings presented by Uber One. $0 delivery fees when you become an Uber One member, $5 off of rides, $5 off of eats. Love to hear it. I'm probably going to indulge in some food after this episode because I'm starving and there's games on, Barcelona, Inter, and I can't wait. I don't want Barcelona to lose because I love Lewandowski, but I want Liam to be right. And that's friendship, guys.
I want them to lose.
That's friendship. And he's the co-host here at Kicked Back, and I hope he gets a W on that take. So I'll probably enjoy some nice $5 off of my eats.
Yeah, you got it. You got to do what you got to do.
Okay. The 2 teams today, we'll start off. No surprise here. We have to get these out of the way, and then we'll move on to teams we never talk about. Canada. Where do you have Canada ranked at this World Cup?
Canada. So heading into this World Cup, I think they have a lot of momentum.
Okay.
They're a fun team to watch. We had Alistair Johnston on the show last week, and he was just talking about the preparation that has gone into this, and I'm sure every team has obviously done that, but I think they're being underestimated around the world for what they actually are. So right now, I have Canada. I have them as the 17th best team at this World Cup.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think you had Poland at 20?
20.
Yeah. So I have them ahead of Poland. So right now, yeah, Canada is the 17th best team at this World Cup for me.
I love that.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I'm a bit of a homer, but there's a lot going well for them.
No, that's not a homer take. I think that that's a great... I mean, I'm the one who's saying they're going to 100% come out of their group. This one was hard for me because I really believe in this team, and my ranking... I want my ranking to, when you guys hear this, and you especially, Liam, to remember that I think they're getting out of their group. They won CONCACAF. I agree. They have momentum. I think that they have a few key players that are going to be game changers, that are so off the radar in the global scale of media and coaches and their opposition. Like these oppositions and their coaches may not know about every single player on their team. Of course, Alphonso Davies is the biggest name, but there's so many secret weapons. But I still think that they have a lot to prove on a global scale because they haven't been there in 36 years. I say that respectfully. They, when it comes to international football, I still think when it comes down to the tournament, they have to get that W. They have to get those draws. They have to advance. So right now, FIFA World Cup rankings has them at 41. I have them at 38.
Okay.
I have them in a position, again, where I really do think that they are going to succeed. And I do think that these rankings obviously will change, obviously, as the tournament goes on. But right now, with no games being had, I put them at 38.
I think they're going to climb.
I think they're going to climb too. And they have climbed. They went up. I think they went up a couple spots in rankings.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see it. I'm really, really excited to see what they do, and I guarantee you guys, I really believe they're going to come out of this group, and when they can get that result against a Belgium or Croatia, I'm like, they've proved it.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think the world's just going to fall in love with so many of these players.
I agree.
Like Tajon Buchanan, just the skill he has and the way he plays. Eustachio, just the way he controls the midfield, and Borjan. Yeah. People are going to love him. Pajama pants. Like, how can you not love that guy? Like, I just think I can see the memes already. Yeah.
And even like Johnston, you know, he's such a passionate guy on the field. Like, you can see through his facial expressions. And Eustachio, he was so solid, I thought, against Uruguay. I think there's going to be a lot of these players on Canada that people are going to be like, who is that? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna pay way more attention to Buchanan at Club Brugge now.
And then people are gonna realize, wow, these guys actually play in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, and I think for the MLS guys, like I said with the Johnston interview too, like I think he's the next guy coming through. Like I think he's a great player. I think who did he say? Kamal Miller was a guy. He's like couldn't believe how well he moved for such a big guy. And yeah, like Canada, I think is gonna turn a lot of heads at this World Cup and do well. And you know what, like, even if they don't get out of the group, I still think they'll put on a good show for everybody. And I think it's just a build up to what's going to happen in 2028.
I can't wait.
Is it 2028? 2026. Yes. Euros is 2028. Look out, world.
Which they had a draw for Euros recently. Oh,
right? Yeah. England got Italy.
Yeah. Which I love.
My goodness. Let me pull those up quickly because I did want to mention that actually.
My dad, the other day, he's like, did you see there was a Euro draw? I'm like, oh my gosh, so much is happening. I'm like, I can't keep up with everything.
Did you see it happen at like 4 o'clock in the morning for us?
Yes, yeah.
That's why it kind of like went under the radar, I think, in North America a little bit because, yeah, like we were sleeping, quite frankly. So, is this it right here? Let me see. Yeah, this must be it. So, I'll just read off a couple of them. Spain, Scotland, Norway. I think that'll be a really fun group. They also have Georgia and Cyprus.
Norway. That's Holland's team. Love it.
So they can definitely get out of this group.
Yep.
Netherlands and France are in the same group.
Yep.
Yep. There we have Republic of Ireland, Greece, and Gibraltar. Group C. Italy, England, Ukraine, North Macedonia, and Malta. That is such a difficult group.
Oh my gosh, Italy fans have PTSD right now seeing North Macedonia.
Yes,
yeah, they have they're like,
honestly.
Shit.
So so North Macedonia and obviously Italy have the World Cup thing. And then England played Ukraine at the Euros as well. So 4 of these teams went to the Euros last time around, and now they're in the same group together. So that's tough. Then you have Croatia, Wales, Armenia, Turkey, and Latvia. That's like a good group. Here you go. Poland, Czech Republic, Albania, Faroe Islands, and Moldova. Poland should get through this group.
I mean, if we don't, respectfully, there's something wrong.
If you don't, Lewandowski got injured. That's what happened.
Seriously.
A couple more here. Belgium, Austria, Sweden, Azerbaijan, Estonia. Belgium should do very easy in this group. And then Austria and Sweden, I would assume, compete for the second. Hungary, Serbia, Montenegro.
Nice.
Bulgaria and Lithuania. Now, that's an interesting one because obviously it used to be Serbia and Montenegro. They used to be a team. So they literally, I think it was 2006, they went to the World Cup because Argentina scored a famous goal against them where they had like 30-something passes before. I believe it was Cambiasso that scored. So that'll be interesting. Hungary, really great chance here to qualify for the Euros. What have we got here? 3 more. Denmark, Finland, Slovenia, Kazakhstan, Northern Ireland, San Marino. Nothing too exciting. Switzerland, Israel, Romania, Kosovo, Belarus, Andorra. Nothing too exciting again. Group J in the final group. Portugal, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Iceland, Luxembourg, Slovakia, and Liechtenstein.
So when is all of the Euro stuff happening?
That'll happen, I believe it starts next summer.
Jesus. So they're going to finish Champions League and then probably go back to their international teams and start playing for Euro.
24th of March.
Wow.
When it gets gone.
That's in the middle of, that's like still when Champions League's playing.
Yeah, so they'll play, I think that'll be the last international break before the season ends. And then they'll do, it looks like here they have games in June and September, October, November.
When people complain about how much athletes make, they need to remind themselves that what their bodies go through and what their schedules go through and the sacrifice they have to make to be an international footballer and a club footballer, it's not normal.
No, it's extremely difficult to do what they do.
Honestly.
I can do it. I can barely get off my 1 men's league a week, to be honest.
And imagine having to be like super disciplined in your eating.
Yeah, that's something else I can't do.
I'm
especially with Uber One on my side.
I know, exactly. I love it. Okay. Our next team and our last team for our Uber One World Cup power rankings, USA. They in the FIFA World Cup rankings, they're 16th, and they did drop a couple spots.
Yes.
My ranking of them, I might not be right on this, but it's not the best. Where do you have them, Liam?
I have them 21.
Okay.
I have them 21. I think, obviously, the form isn't great for them by any means. So I think that if everything goes perfectly for them, they'll be a good team.
Okay.
The issue is nothing ever goes perfectly for anybody. So apart from the one team that wins, but they just don't have momentum on the side right now. The star players aren't playing right. We talked about the manager the other day, squad selection. I was watching a bunch of videos on it last night too, and people just aren't happy with players that are in the team. And I just feel like they're really going to be exposed at this World Cup against better opposition. Like, I'm curious actually to see the Gareth Bale and the MLS guys go against each other. It's an interesting storyline. It's not really being spoken about, but even like players are making this team and they're not even scoring goals for the club teams. Never mind for the international team. So I just don't see how that's a recipe for success heading into the World Cup. So yeah, I have the US, the 21st team going into the World Cup.
Okay, I have the US at 30th. So 8 spots above Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the only reason, guys, why I have Canada ranked 38th is because it's just been so long since they've been there. And we don't always get to see Canada play like strong international teams. I do think they're better than the U.S.
Yeah.
I will say that. We saw that in CONCACAF. The U.S. have... It's tough. I sat with this and I'm like, I don't know how to even position this. And I was so sometimes I'm like, no, I think that they're worse than my ranking. Sometimes I think that they're better. They have a team of talent. We spoke about this before on Kicked Back. They have many young players in really good leagues across the world. If their manager doesn't sort his shit out and put his players in a position to succeed, they're not going to have success at this World Cup.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the reality of the situation, because if you're playing, again, 180 minutes of football against teams that you should be competing against and you only have 2 shots on target, that's scary. And yes, England's in their group, which is obviously going to be a good game, but if that's your result and you have Iran and you have Wales, which you know that no team in this World Cup is just going to sit down and let another team walk all over them, the U.S. should be a little concerned. But if their coach, Berhalter, can address these issues, I do think that this is a very systematic athletic team with young talent. And we compare that to Canada because Canada has a lot of young talent with not as much experience. I do think that they can make these results happen. So I say that cautiously. I'm going to put them at 30th because I'm not completely sold on this U.S. team. But I really want them to do well.
I'm with you. Actually, funnily enough, the goalie for Maccabi Haifa, American goalie.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's 30 years old from Mount View, California. Yeah, I believe he played for like Colorado or something in the MLS.
Oh.
So he doesn't play for the U.S. He's never played a game.
Well, hello.
And now he's in the Champions League and, yeah, never played a game for the U.S. Yeah, played for the Sacramento Republic, not Colorado, sorry. But, yeah, either way, I agree. Like, I think the U.S., a lot of talent. Pulisic, Reina, McKennie. Like, they got a lot of guys who can push the boat for them. And, yeah, if it comes together, great. They've got a really fun team. The issue is putting it together.
Yeah.
Which they haven't done.
Yeah.
So it's like we said the other week, like people were saying they're compared to England, like because they can't score goals. Like, no. It's very different.
It'd be interesting to see those two teams take each other on when they both have been out of form prior to the World Cup.
Yeah. I think England actually will want a big result against them because of what happened at the last time they played in the World Cup.
What happened last time? I don't remember.
So I think it was Clint Dempsey who had the shot against Rob Green, and Rob Green like fumbled it and it went in over the line. And like there's a famous picture of him like, so he like rolled up to him and he went to block it and it like almost rolled over his shoulder and he like turns around to go and grab it and he misses it. And right before that, there had been an article in, it was front of one of the newspapers and it was said easy. And it was like England, Algeria, Slovakia, Yankees, because that was the group England were in. That was all the teams. And yeah, people, I think the US took that quite in their favor. They drew the game 1-1 and yeah, England, they were poor then anyway. So the Capello era, what an era.
I'm so excited. I love these storylines. I love these storylines so much. And one thing, Liam, that we have to do is when the World Cup's done, we're going to have one episode and we're going to re-rank. We're going to have a sheet of what we ranked the teams prior to the World Cup and then a new sheet of what we now rank the teams after the World Cup.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Do you know one thing we should also do? Sorry, they played Slovenia. I knew it was Slovakia, Slovenia. We should do a countdown of the top 10 storylines heading into the World Cup.
Okay, yeah, we should do
that.
that.
That'd be a fun one. And maybe not necessarily like Mbappe wants to leave PSG, but like stuff like the Bale MLS thing.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a pretty cool storyline.
It's a huge storyline.
There's other stuff going on too. And like, I think it's going to be a fun World Cup. I'm very excited. We are just over a month away.
Get ready, everyone. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know where you would rank Canada and USA right now ahead of the World Cup. And thank you guys always for listening to Kicked Back. We appreciate you. This is so much fun to do this. So thank you for your comment in advance. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk more Champions League. So see you soon.
Goodbye.